Hey everyone, this is Daily Offering Podcast. And today we are talking about all things business. So Tiffany and I are both business owners, entrepreneurs, and we get into the details, kind of our story arcs of how we founded our business and what we're doing and how the Lord leads us all the way through it.
I'm Tiffany, and today we're going to talk about business.
Yeah, episode 5?
Business.
Ooh, with the hand motion. Specifically.
Episode 5.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are both business owners separately. We each have our own business.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something, entrepreneurship, and again, being business owners, women business owners, hustling and just doing what God puts before us is on our heart to talk about, not only in this episode, but as a theme, carrying onward. But what was a main kind of like prompt or question that you felt led to answer today? We're diving right in.
Gosh, we're jumping,
yep,
you guys.
I'm ready.
We're not even there. So business today, like business, ministry, business, Jesus, money, all of that.
Yeah.
It's gonna get deep real fast. Let's talk about our businesses, the things that we do.
Yeah.
Things that I've done. Oh my gosh. Alexa, I think I've had like at least 10 businesses in my whole life.
Really?
Are you I'm a chronic business starter. Are you a chronic business starter, or are you like, no, I have like one?
So I have the tendency to want to be a chronic business starter.
That's fair.
But I've learned the hard way to go to the Lord with it first and ask like, hey, wait, now I have this next business idea, this new business idea. And you know what? It's not necessarily business. It's just little ways to make money.
Yes.
I would say that you and I are very much like,
Yes.
What's that term? Like jack of all trades. Like you and I can pick up a hobby and be like decent, if not just good,
good
at
enough
it.
to be
Yeah.
like, should I start this business?
Right.
Yes.
We're all, I don't know, I'll speak for myself, being artistic, creative, and I just very, very artsy. So I could pick up a lot of hobbies and again, be good enough at it where then I enjoy it because it's something new and it's like this creative outlet.
Oh my God.
And then want to run.
I agree. Okay.
But then I got to ask God what pace.
Exactly. I remember like one of our first times hanging out, like I went to your, what was it, like a farmer's market sale? You were selling those cute little things.
It was a maker's market.
The maker's market.
Yes.
Yeah, she had the cutest little poems. Alexa was a poet, like the best poet. I think, I don't know, did you do haikus? Maybe it was a haiku or something. But
some of them were haikus, but they were just typewriter poetry with my pressed flowers and a frame or watercolor paintings alongside of,
Yeah.
That was an era.
I love it. I still have it in my house.
Aw.
And my roommate, Faith, she also has one in her room
right.
too. Yeah, she's got a monster one. It's
recent
like this big. Yeah.
That's so true. Yeah, I guess I've only had a couple, but it's this mixture of, I guess like my little mini rise and falls has been so many people encouraging me to sell my artwork, whether it was typewriter poetry, watercolor paintings, or embroidery. So again, I pick up these hobbies and then post about them on Instagram, and people are like, I want to buy that. How do I buy it? So the encouragement to sell. When I was in my PhD program is when I finally started like my first Etsy shop because I wanted, and you know what? I was selling plant propagations too because I had like 30 something plants, and I was like, doing the cuttings and the propagating and selling those, but it was all to pay my way through the PhD program.
Fair.
So selling my art, poetry, and plants. That's so random, to pay for my textbooks and my tuition.
It's like the most not random.
It's
I feel like LA just has people selling stuff all the time. We're just selling things.
Oh boy.
Okay, I know. Okay, I've even done it where I've sold my bread.
Yes,
Right?
yeah.
And I know, so I know you don't sell bread. So, okay.
Well, see, that was I asked the Lord because I was
Yeah.
about to, and I
Yeah.
even looked into getting this, like, my own kitchen licensed and like the cottage license or whatever. And I asked God, can I start selling my bread? And He said, no, bread is a gift.
Yeah.
And so that's a whole nother story, but that was a red light from the
Yeah.
Lord. Otherwise, that would have been another. Anyways,
Yeah.
back to you.
No, that's what I was like. I was going to go there because I was like, we both bake bread.
Yes.
We both love bread. So she is a like hardcore sourdough connoisseur. Mwah, like so good, so
Chef's
good.
kiss.
Chef's kiss. I am a focaccia girl. I feel like focaccia is much more forgiving. It's because I'm just I'm the kind of person that cooks in a dump. Like I'm like, this is the ingredient list, dump. So focaccia is a little bit more of a dump style, whereas sourdough like loaves, you have to like want it, you have to like need it and like love it and all of that.
Absolutely.
So,
Little bread babies.
but I have sold my sourdough. I had a whole era where I was selling it.
That's neato.
Yeah.
It's funny. How long have we been friends? It's been what, like 3 or 4 years?
Yes.
And so
Yes.
of course we've been through. I keep using the word like era, but we've had. I do
We
think
have
about
eras,
it though,
yeah.
where. Just certain hobbies or interests or periods of life and our circumstances drive us forward and little blips and little seasons. But yeah, okay, tell me more about your business arc.
My business
or what
arc.
are you doing now? Or
Okay, no, that's so good.
Bring us
Okay,
through.
there's a huge arc, guys. Okay, so I started my first business in high school.
oh, okay, wow,
I was selling hair headbands.
that's so cute.
I sold feather hair bands. I loved it.
Feather hair bands.
Feather hair bands. Oh my gosh. You're not old enough. We've established that, what is it? What did you call it?
I saw something, the reel.
The reel, yeah.
There was a reel on Instagram just a couple days ago, and it said instead of using the word years for explaining how old we are, we should explain levels. So
Yeah.
I'm approaching level 35.
Yeah.
It sounds so much cooler.
It's so much cooler, and I am a solid level 42 right now. But we've established that I'm, whatever, 7 years older.
What's math? I don't
Whatever
know,
math.
something like that.
Whatever mom math that
Wait,
I
actually,
make
yes,
it.
you did do that. Way to
okay,
go.
good. Ooh, homeschool math pays off.
Yes.
What is 42 minus 35? I don't know. So, when my era of high school, like, we were still doing the whole, like, 2000s vibe, so everyone's wearing business casual to school.
high school?
To high school. You're either preppy or business casual.
Interesting.
Yes. Like, if it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
That's
Like,
specific.
chunky shoes and like big chunky necklaces. So, but everyone's like wearing big chunky hair headbands.
Oh, goodness.
And all the big chunky things. So that's the reason why I brought it back there. So I believe that in high school I did that. And I was not Etsy was not a thing.
Right, of
so it
course.
was like, here's my little box. Do you guys want? I was selling makeup. There was like little like tubes. Like, do you remember those tube powders? Like I sold that in high school. And my biggest business starting thing was music. Selling music.
Very cool.
Yes,
Your
so-
own music?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you remember episode 3, I talked about my worship and how that got started, but that also got me started in business because I was a singer-songwriter, a performer, and so I had to basically like vaudeville peddle my music. I sold CDs.
Wow.
I made CDs. I burned CDs, guys, and I printed out the CD thing and I printed the sticker and then I sold it in my shows.
You know what's funny though
What?
is I feel like, is it Gen Z and whoever comes after Gen Z, they like when we say burn CDs, they're probably gonna think of flame, fire.
Absolutely.
They haven't they might not even have the concept of
They've-
like what burning a CD actually means.
No
but it's
idea.
downloading music onto a CD. We're not like flame it. We're not doing bonfires with CDs, okay?
But I know that they're actually coming back, so which is
Wait, really?
Yes.
What a good time.
I just
Everything does, though.
I just saw a CD player like like for sale, but as a CD, and you could like listen to it on the earbuds, or it could go to Bluetooth. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
All right.
Okay, CDs are making a comeback, guys. CDs. Anyways, so selling my CDs. All right. I go to college and I'm like, what am I going to do in college? I still play music through college. And out of college, I get a job at a church. And I'm like, still doing all the things, but what am I going to do? I learned how to make websites
Okay.
at the church because, you work at a church. You
Yeah.
have to do everything. So I've got to figure out how am I going to make websites. And at this point, I was dabbling in photography. And so I learned how to make websites and MySpaces.
Oh, very good. Like the profiles?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I learned how to customize MySpaces, like HTML, like early
Neato.
days of HTML. So all of my friends who were musicians, I was customizing their MySpaces. I was designing their CDs.
Oh my
And I was
goodness.
taking their pictures
Wow. For the MySpace profile
for
picture.
the MySpace
Obviously.
for their businesses. I'm actually helping their businesses
Cool.
be business. So yeah, so that's what I was doing.
I miss MySpace.
Oh my gosh, MySpace. MySpace. Anyways, so that was like
That's college.
that's really college.
Okay.
Out of college, I start really doing photography because it's making a little bit more money. My sister's also doing photography because she's a dancer. She's a professional dancer and she's taking headshots and doing things and still in college. And I approach her and I'm like, hey, you're going to graduate college. Do you want to start a business or do you want to get a job? And she's like, maybe we could start a business. We're both living at home at this time. And so we're like, let's start a business. So we start a business. And we start taking photos of friends and people, and like they're like, hey, do you want to take photos of our weddings? And we're like, sure, we'll try it, and we have like the junkiest cameras in 2006 and 2007, and we're just doing it, and we love it. And that turns into a full-blown business.
After how long?
Okay, so that
Or
was
I guess you jumped in with the intention of it being a business.
we did
From the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was juggling graphic design and photography, and they were two full-blown businesses. I had a lot of clients doing graphic design and a lot of clients for photography, and I'm like, I got to figure this out. And so I went to a conference, a photography conference, and I don't know what it was. It was such a God thing. That year that I went, there was something called P31, which is Proverbs 31 Woman.
Oh, okay.
And so many people who were there were graphic designers, photographers, people who were, networking, people, and they were all Christians. It was a year of Christian photography and Christian influencers in photography. So I was doing devotionals. I was literally at photography camp. I was doing devotionals every morning and then worship nights every night with this group, this P31 group. And so I was sitting with the Lord and I'm like, Lord, I really want to do one or the other, but I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. He's like, you need to choose one.
Okay.
And so and I really believed that he was going to bless the one that I chose. And so I was like, well, I choose photography. So I went home and I started to undo my graphic design clients. And that, I believe within a month, I had booked my whole year of photography.
Oh, wow.
It was incredible.
That
I had
is.
30 clients, 30 weddings, which is insane.
In a year?
In a year, within a month, I booked 30 weddings for my year. Yeah, and so I was like, okay, I know that is from the Lord. And so my sister and I were like, let's go, and we did it. And then the next year, from then on, I would say from 2009 until 2020. Don't even talk about 2020.
2009 to 2020.
Yeah,
Okay.
2009 to 2020. Don't even talk about 2020.
Okay.
2020 was an anomaly, horrible
Right.
COVID year, so we won't even talk about that. But yeah, like we shot from 20 2009 up until 2019,
Okay.
40 to 50 weddings every single year
That's incredible.
between my sister and I. We built this business. It was weddings, it was family photography, it was babies, maternities,
Babies.
babies. I love the babies. It was everything. And we built the business from nothing to six figures. She and I were both making six figures. It was
Wow.
incredible. And yeah, I enjoyed a lot of it.
Yeah.
Until burnout. But we can talk about burnout later. So
Sure.
that's my business.
Episode
art.
6 is burnout.
Maybe. We'll see.
Okay.
Again, a lot of starts and fails, like starting a lot of things, and some things peter out, some things really are successful, all of those
Yeah.
things. That is my business arc.
And what are you doing now?
Now?
Yes.
That's a story.
Okay.
Are you ready for that story? It's a long story.
Up to you.
In 2020, everything fell apart. Just with COVID, COVID really, really took so much away from us, because we're an event-based company.
Yeah.
We're in-person company, and so when people didn't want to meet, that really just turned us upside down. All of 2020 and most of 2021 weddings were canceled. We weren't able to photograph people, families. Gratefully, some of our baby clients did not want to miss out on their baby photos, so we secretly did that. I remember the day that it shut down, that everything shut down. I was actually shooting a wedding. I was in Joshua Tree, and it was honestly the most gorgeous wedding. She was supposed to have a really big wedding, and then because of COVID, they went smaller and smaller and smaller. And they had gotten to a point where it was like just their families at an Airbnb, and they're like, we're going to drive into Joshua Tree and do our wedding there. And it was really beautiful and really special. But I remember one of my best friends at the time, her name is Vanessa. She called me frantically, like multiple times. She's like, you need to go home. Because and in Joshua Tree, I couldn't get reception. So when we had finished the wedding, we closed it out, and like I was on my way home, and I'm getting all these messages and pings on my cell phone, and she's like, get home. They shut everything down.
Oh, wow.
And it was the wildest experience driving home from Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
So from LA to Joshua Tree is about 3 hours, 3.5 hours. I got home in an hour.
Whoa, because no one was on the road.
No one was on the road.
That's wild.
It was the wildest
Yeah.
drive. There was nobody on the road. And I was freaking out that we were going to get arrested for being on the road. But yeah, it was the craziest thing. And so the whole business flipped upside down. In the beginning of 2020, my husband, he had just left his job to go into ministry. And so we were like big question marks with how we're going to pay our mortgage, how we're going to do everything. Schools are shut down. We're at home with homeschool. We're homeschooling we're not even homeschooling. We're public schooling from home. So many things happened. Clients started calling and saying, hey, I want refunds. And I'm like, we don't have that. And so we had people threaten to sue us for not giving their money back. We had people being like, give me my deposit back, putting horrible reviews up because we wouldn't give them their deposits back. We were 100% upside down. It was so much damage. But I remember doing a lot of thinking and a lot of introspection in that time because we were just stuck doing nothing. And I remember hearing from the Lord, like, I think that at some point I'm going to be in ministry full time.
Okay.
Right. And I remember specifically being at my church talking to Andrea, who's our pastor's wife. I was like, Andrea, I feel like I might go into ministry full time at some point. I feel like the God's calling me. She's like, okay, I'll pray for you. Like she always does.
Yes.
And I'm like,
I
I
love
don't know what it
Andrea.
looks like. Definitely don't know what it looks like. And February 2021, I have in my journal, the Lord said, like, I am that kind of person that I'm like, okay, sure, Jesus,
Yeah.
whatever you say.
Yeah.
And without thinking, I am a blind follower when it comes to Jesus, like, because I know he's never steered me wrong.
Right.
But I had to leave, not just leave my business for ministry. You leave your business, you leave your name, you leave your money, you leave your friendships, you leave your network, you leave your social media, you leave your following, you leave your clients, everything.
And even the gifting that you poured so much into perfecting, you know?
I did not know what it was going to cost
Yeah.
when I had my yes.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the dirty things that are revealed, you know, like not like you know, you're dirty, right? But like, you know when you
Like pride and
yeah,
like that sort of thing?
Yeah, like
Okay.
when you pull your oven out, it's gross. The things that you cover up that you don't take care of. Yeah, so things like pride, things like I found my self-worth and my value in people and accolade, and
Got it.
like losing my following destroyed me. And like losing my income destroyed me. And like learning all of the places that I had idols. And so that was so hard. And the biggest thing that destroyed me was that it tore my relationship with my sister apart. So, okay.
No.
So let's talk really quickly about a worthy treasure. So a worthy treasure is started out as a ministry, but it's kind of morphed into a lot of different things. So I still do photography under a worthy treasure. I do photograph babies and maternities and families. A worthy treasure also is music. I serve churches. I go to churches and I lead worship, or I'll do conferences. And I do ministry under Worthy Treasure. And I do music under the umbrella of Worthy Treasure. But I have a music ministry called A Witness Between Us. What's cool about that group is that we're from all over the place. We're from different churches, different countries, and we're all creating music and recording remotely. And I really love that. And it's called A Witness Between Us, and it comes from a passage in Deuteronomy. In Scripture, it says, "Let it be a witness between us." Right? They're trying to create a contract, and I love that. Like the Lord was in the middle of it, and so our group is called A Witness Between Us. But that's all under the arc of A Worthy Treasure. Okay. So if you're looking at Worthy Treasure, you're like, what is going on? It's like, it's just a blend of everything. It's a blend of ministry, photography, music, and just all of that. So that's what A Worthy Treasure is. Awesome. So tell me about your arc. Like, what's your business? You have all these things that you do.
Yes. Well, all the things that I have done. So what's interesting is I have always been super resistant to owning a business, starting a business, and I've been so encouraged by others, like kind of as I alluded to in the beginning of this episode. So many people are like, let me buy that. Let me buy your art. Let me buy your poetry. When are you going to write a book? I want to buy the book of poetry. And I always said, no, I do it for me. So again, watercolor, paintings, embroidery, art, and typewriter poetry. And I often mix them all together. Like I will embroider poetry into wall decor, or I will typewriter poetry and paint watercolors surrounding it. And I spent years doing that. But whenever someone offered to buy it, I was like, whoa, absolutely not. Like I made this for me. Like this is my outlet, my creative expression. This is my way of processing things. It was not for an audience, that sort of perspective for my own art. So it kind of freaked me out, and I'd be like, no, get away, but eventually, again, when I started my PhD program, I realized, you know what, I would like to contribute more financially because we were paying out of pocket for the PhD. We didn't take out any loans to begin with. And so I am married to a finance man.
Good job.
I'm married to someone who works at a bank and is very wise with finances, numbers. Praise the Lord for Matthew Johansson. So I was like, you know what? I want to contribute more financially to what Matt and I have committed to for the advancement of my degree and education. So I also want to note that at the time of my PhD, I was in year 6 of teaching. So I was a professor and director. I began as a so I was a professor for 7 years, and I was a director probably for 3 years, maybe even 4. I won't try to recall right now. But I was in higher education for 7 years total. And I was teaching a full load of classes, directing a first-year seminar program for several years. And again, at that time, people were encouraging me to start an Etsy shop, which I was like, that would then be business owner because I'm selling things. I'm navigating, an online shop. I saw that as being a business owner. And I was like, you know what I did? I used the never word. I said, never in my life do I want to be a business owner. I always claimed that I was happy climbing someone else's ladder. And I was happy to have someone above me to tell me how to climb the ladder. And that I wanted that and needed that I needed the mentoring, that I needed a boss to check in with and be like, okay, what am I doing well and what am I definitely not doing well and how can I grow? I wanted that. I claimed I needed that.
Clearly you didn't. I'm a director of a program.
Well, I still had someone above me, to report to, blah, blah, blah. So I got the PhD the Lord made it way too easy. Because, you guys, why do I do this? Why do I use the never word? Because, can I beep, back it up just a little bit more?
Beep,
can I,
beep, beep, beep.
So, in my master's program, so sorry I'm going backwards here, but hang on, we're journeying. In my master's program, I was in a cohort of I think it was 13 master's students, but there was a cohort of us, there were 10 of us, and we received full ride teaching scholarships. So we received full ride scholarships for our master's program as well as teaching positions. So that's technically where my my professor journey began, was teaching through my master's and then onward for my career. So when I was with OMG, so sorry, it was 8 of us. Math. I need Matthew Johansson, right? Numbers. Anywho, it was 8 of us out of the cohort of 12 or 13. Okay, so we all shared a huge office. We were teaching fellows. We shared a huge office, and we all, at the end of our year, we were about to graduate, we spun our chairs around, because this is where we held office hours all together. We spun our chairs around, and one by one, we went across this office sharing what we hoped our plans would be on the other side of graduation. Every single person except me and one other said that they wanted to go onward to a PhD. I said, I just want to teach. I'm happy being an adjunct. It's okay. I don't need to be full-time. I just want to teach. Adjunct life is good for me. I don't know what it'll look like, but I was so burnt out. I was working full-time, teaching part-time, and a full-time master's student, and working as a nanny, by the way. And I was just so burnt out of all things. I was like, just get me graduated. I'll pick up some teaching positions, and I'll just be good for as long as I could be good. And I was already engaged. I was like, I got my husband too. Joint income will be fine. But every other person except me and one other, they all said PhD. And I said, never in my life do I want to get a PhD. I ended up the only one with a PhD out of that cohort for a while. There's a couple others who now have theirs because I graduated with my PhD, I don't know, 3-ish years ago now. But for a while, I was the only one with the PhD.
No.
But it's because God made it too easy. And the Lord was like, surprise! It shouldn't be a surprise anymore that any of my never words end up exactly what the Lord has for me. But he was the one.
So then maybe you need to just check every time you say
never.
And be like, okay, that
or just take it out of the vocabulary.
But maybe God's making it easy for you. So if you say, I would never do that, be like, wait.
Shoot, the Lord's already revealed to me a prophetic like, note on what I will definitely be doing in like 3 more years when I'm open to being humbled. No, I'm kidding. But so ended up getting my PhD thinking that I was going to be in higher education forever and ever, amen, and just climbing the ladder up until I could be like, I don't know, a dean or a provost. I don't know, vice president. Who knows? I didn't really care. I just want to be in the classroom. And then I found myself pretty desperate to leave teaching. Mm-hmm. And mind you, when I was old enough to speak, when I was old enough to waddle around, so toddler era, I was setting up school in my house. Like I would line up all my stuffed animals and I had a little whiteboard and I would just scribble on a whiteboard and pretend I was playing school. I always wanted to be a teacher. And so then got to for 7 years and then found myself aching to leave the university that I was teaching at the time. They were going through major changes in leadership as well as major changes of even the campus culture. And it was starting to make my role as a director of the first year seminar program and the way that I hold a safe, secure space in the classroom. My job was starting to become a little bit difficult with the leadership changes, financial changes, and the campus culture changes that were happening. And so I was like, oh no, I don't think that my level of integrity can be upheld if I'm being stripped of finances, to direct a program. And if the campus culture is shifting one way that made it tricky for me to sustain a safe space in the classroom for all, for everyone who shows up in that classroom to feel safe and secure and supported by the university and their values as a whole. If I couldn't show up and pour full integrity into every single thing that I did, then I couldn't stay, period. I walk forward in the work that the Lord gives me with 110% integrity. And if it gets docked down to 109, I start looking around. And then eventually as it gets docked down to 100 and then 99, then I got to go. If it's not 100% integrity, I need to peace out. And I need to find where I can align and apply my integrity. It is for Matt and I, our highest life value and all we do is integrity. And if even 1% of it gets knocked away, then it's got to be a no. Yeah. And so I begged the Lord for a while because I was like, my job, I can't keep showing up. I was leading over 40 faculty members because the first year seminar was taught by 40 something faculty members in addition to me. So I was leading 40 plus faculty and 1,000 plus first year students. And again, it was difficult at that time of change. And it was 2020, by the way, so all universities and all businesses were seeing change and strain. And so anyways, I asked the Lord over and over and over again, can I leave? And when he finally said yes, I freaked out and I started kind of panicking, even though I'd been asking for this and the Lord said yes. Yeah, and then I was like, what? And then I freaked out and I was crying and I was snotty and gross and just like, what do I do then? Because I'm getting BPS, that was incorrect. PS, I got my bachelor's in literature and creative writing. I got my master's in literature, and I was getting the PhD in higher education. My PhD is not in literature, it's in higher education. So when I tell you I was really committed to climbing that ladder for the rest of my life and career, I meant it. So I was like, that's so bizarre that the Lord just said, yes, I can leave higher education. What am I supposed to do? I'm getting the PhD, whatever. So I asked the Lord 3 questions. We're getting to the genesis of my business. We're almost there. So I asked the Lord, it was October of 2020, and the Lord said, yes, leave. And so I said, okay, do I leave now? Do I wait until the end of the semester? Because I was still teaching and directing. I was a faculty and staff member, both. So I said, do I leave right now? Because you said yes. Do I wait until I'm done, till the end of the semester? Or do I wait until I have something else lined up? He said, maybe, definitely, and don't you dare. So he said, maybe leave now. I release that to you if you want to leave right now. He said, definitely leave by the end of the semester. So that was December 2020. And he said, but don't you dare wait until you have something else lined up. That's not the point of trusting me. Ooh. And so I prayed for 24 more hours because that was I prayed for 48 hours because that was a Friday. On Monday morning, I put my 2 weeks notice in for the staff position, which was the director position. But I told them that I would continue teaching, the faculty part, until December. So within 2 weeks, I was done being a director, and within 2 months, I was done, period, with higher education.
Wow.
But now I see that the reason why the Lord said, don't you dare wait until you have something lined up, is because I never went back to higher education. I started poking around job boards before he said this. I was like poking around job boards and starting to apply places through 2020. But all universities, only universities. And so also going to my husband and being like, whoa, this is what I heard from the Lord. And he's just like, okay. And I was like, excuse me, wait a second. Like I do contribute like quite significantly financially as well. We're just okay. And he's like, yeah, it's what God said. So, okay. And I was like, you're not worried financially? And he's like, not if God said. And I was like, OMG, you're right, of course, but like that's scary. Mm-hmm. And so, anywho, I was unemployed for several months until, so here's the business genesis story is I was unemployed. I mean, also, I was still finishing my PhD. I had 1 year left of the PhD. And this is when we took a loan out, by the way. We took a loan out because we did not have my income to go straight into like paying for with cash anymore. So took a mini loan out to finish the PhD for my last year. I did finish it, so I do have that doctorate in higher education. It is incredibly transferable, everything that I learned to what I do now. However, even though it's not higher ed. However, I was unemployed. And I was finishing the PhD. I wasn't selling art anymore. I kind of paused that because the PhD needed all my focus, to be honest. I was also raising my nieces and nephews. My sister had passed away right when I started the program, so we were helping to raise our nieces and nephews. So I was still busy, but essentially I realized after I healed up a little bit, because it was trying spiritually and emotionally and mentally. It was really trying. It was really straining, again, to kind of maintain the program that I had with less finances and less, support and such. So I kind of healed up a little bit first for several months. And then I was like, okay, God, I want to serve my community with my hands and feet. And I want to do it creatively, and I want to do it with my whole heart. And so I got a job at a coffee shop. It was an independent, like a little indie coffee shop. And so it wasn't like a Starbucks chain or anything like that. And I started serving the community with my hands and feet. What's funny is the people who came for coffee were my students and my old colleagues. And so it was like bizarre to them, to my colleagues, for them to come. And I went from leaving everything that they had to go to first nothing, and then to pick up a coffee. I was serving coffee alongside the students of the university.
That must have been like a really like Twilight Zone kind of experience for them.
It was everything. It was what's so weird is what's so strange is that it was a Twilight Zone experience for them, but it was everything that I wanted. In that season, it was everything that I wanted in that season. It was everything that I needed for my heart and my soul in the like recuperation period of hustling so hard to try to fit puzzle pieces where they were suddenly scattered, university wise. And so it was everything I needed. And my previous colleagues would come in and just be like, what are you doing here? Like, we all actually need you and miss you and want you. No one wanted me to leave. Everyone was still trying to fit their puzzle pieces in where they were like being blown away as well. Yeah. So they were all still doing the struggle thing. And I was like, no. This is the best to like serve. This is the best to serve with my hands and feet, to serve among other, like I'm still teaching. It's just my barista friends next to me. I still get to teach, and I still get to it looked different. I got to serve. It was so cool. Then a friend from college came to me, and he and I were English majors together. And he was like, hey, Alexa, that's not true. I went to him. Because remember how so many people said, hey, Alexa, if you ever will you publish a book so I could buy it? Yeah? Okay. And I always said, no. Well, okay, if I ever have time. But I never planned to have time.
Never.
Ew, you're right. Ew, OMG. You are so correct. I never planned to actually have time to see that through. And so when I quit my job, and I was like, my whole career, really, and I was like, oh, I have time. I reached out to a friend who I was an English major with in my undergrad. He had self-published a book of poetry or short stories, I don't remember. I reached out to him and I was like, I suddenly have time. I made this promise that I never, LOL, expected to keep to all these people, but I might as well start pulling a poetry book together because I have enough. So he came over and he read through, he's like, okay, print out all the poetry that you would think that you would want to put in a book. And it was over 200 pieces of poetry just within that year and a half, like my most recent stuff. He read through it, literally every single one, and he's like, okay, Alexa, you have enough poetry for several books, and you have the heart to platform college students. Because what I really loved about being a professor, it's all enmeshed here. This is why we had some context. What I loved about being a professor was platforming students, putting knowledge as well as like career bits into their resume to take onward through the rest of their college years as well as into their career beyond. So I love platforming students. And so he said, and I taught English majors. So he said, you can publish your own books as well as platform your students and publish their first books if you become a publisher. And so Gold Script Co. is my business, and it was born as a publishing company thanks to this friend's encouragement and ideas. And I kind of was resistant towards it for a very long time, but essentially the Lord ushered me into this again all too easily. It was his idea that came through the encouragement of this friend, and this Gold Script Co. was born as a publishing company only. As I learned through the years, I could not keep my doors open as a publishing company only. Books, they'll sell, but not, forever. Then the sales kind of like peter out and just trickle once like that initial launch of a book kind of comes out. And so, especially from an indie small publisher as I was and still am. But what I also found was that as authors came to me asking me to publish their books, I found that their books were not ready. And I found that they came to me with an idea for a book with nothing written. And that's when the Lord showed me that I am more than capable to also begin writing coaching services and book editing services, because I can't take that manuscript unless it's edited first, and it wasn't edited. So it needed to be edited before published. Or for those who are like, I want you to publish my book once I write it, the teaching background that I had now pours into writing coaching, and all the grading I did for literature students now pours into the editing.
That's so good. And she's good at it.
I love what I do. Thank you, Jesus.
I know. You read so quickly. That's one thing I was always impressed, especially in college. Like, my professors, they could literally, read they could, read a page in, 10 seconds. Like, whoop, whoop. I'm like, what? Because I have, eyeball problems. So, minor dyslexia and different things. So, my processing is very slow. So, to see somebody, I'm like, that's incredible. I think it's so incredible. So with Alexa's business, I've kind of seen you, we've been friends for 4 years. And so I've seen the different iterations of your business. I've seen the publishing Alexa. I've published my book Alexa. Yeah. I've seen hey, I'm not sure if I want to be a publisher anymore Alexa.
Yes.
I have experienced you now as a coach for 2 to 3 different books.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun and interesting to see her as a writing coach in different iterations of my life, but then also to know you as a friend, as a business owner and an entrepreneur. So being her podcast partner, I've seen her in a very different light.
Yeah, this is new.
It's so new and so fun because she's actually throwing me a lot more than just a friend Alexa. She's throwing me hey, what do you think about this new business idea? And I'm like, yes! I'm like, Alexa, this business idea is amazing, and she just launched this amazing editor help called...
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yes.
Ooh, exciting.
Yes. And it's called, what is it called? It's
Equipped by an Editor.
Equipped by an Editor. I thought that was the coolest name. I'm like, this is so good. And so, it is a PDF that helps you write your story, helps you edit your story before you get to that final manuscript. And I just love, she sent it to me. She's like, I'm so scared. She's like, what do you think? I don't know. And I'm the kind of person, I love platforming entrepreneurs. So I'm on that other side where you're
Yeah.
like, I love platforming writers and
Yeah.
different people. And I'm like, if you're an entrepreneur, I want to get you there. What can I do? I give my advice for free because I do not have an entrepreneur starting business. And I don't think I never want it. I never want it. But I love launching people's businesses. Like, I just think it's so special when people can have ideas and like fight for them, you know, and push your business forward, push that business forward, take a risk, take a chance. And so I love that about you. And I love that part of your, of this part of your business, because you're just continually growing it, and it's seeming, it's so cool to watch you in this season.
Thank you. So I really, really, really appreciate that and everything you shared. Thank you. And it's reminding me that there were some people at church who encouraged me to create a product to sell, kind of like the passive income situation. And I was like, no, that's not really what I'm about. I'm super like relational. Like, I want to meet with you. I want to partner with you. I want to hear your heart and your strengths and your fears. And I want to get in there with you and get you unstuck and surge you onward in your book goals and book visions. And it's just me. Like, I don't have any other employees, right? It's just me. And so I could only take on a certain number of clients per season, whether I'm your writing coach or your editor or both. Like, I only have so much bandwidth. And so this couple at church who are all into marketing and absolutely brilliant, they told me to consider something like a product or a class that would bring in passive income so that I could continue to grow the business in like a new way. And at first I was like, no, that's not as personal, as I'm used to doing everything. However, months and months later, it was last October, I was on a flight to go to a friend's wedding, and but I held it open, right? I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. I see the strategy, I see the growth point in that. So I'll hold it like this with my palms open, because I don't know best. Like, this business was not my idea. All these services came as little droppings of like revelations and blessing from the Lord. The Lord even set my price. Like, the Lord sets my pricing, and he tells me when or if to ever up my pricing. Like, I don't pay attention to that until the Lord nudges me and gives me a number. And I'm like, oh, what number is that? And he's like, we're going to up your price to this now. And, a year later, whatever. So everything is submitted to the Lord, every single detail of this business. And so again, I held my hands open in terms of, God, if you want me to create a sort of service or class or product, I'm going to go like this, and you're just going to have to tell me if or when you want to tell me. So it was on that flight in October, and he just downloaded, equipped by an editor, in every single detail possible, how it was going to work, a little bit of what it was going to look like. And I just felt suddenly so energized by it, motivated to create it, the clarity of what it's meant to be and how it's meant to be used. But I did not have any of that. It wasn't something that gradually grew. It was something just so instantly downloaded.
Yeah. I totally understand that.
He does it.
He does. I really do feel like that's what this whole thing is all about. This is what this podcast is about.
Yeah.
That's what our businesses are about. And we're just this yes person. Like, we wait, and then we're like, yes, we have it. Yes, go. That's what my book is about. There's the same thing. I love what you said, that you found it on an airplane, that the Lord downloaded, because that's how the Lord downloaded my book concept to me. Thank you so much for watching episode 5. We hope that you loved it. Please like, subscribe, do all of the things, tell your friends, and we hope it's encouraging to you to start your own business.
Oh,